thief or whatever, you're a soldier. And despite what title they try to place, the important thing is that you maintain that position. So the bayonet is important. I prefer the spirit of the bayonet. I prefer saving ammunition when it comes to the ATF, if you know what I mean. That's one of the things I do enjoy. The spirit of the bayonet is to, of course, kill. And in this case, this will do a fine job.
Penetrate body armor.
That's right. Penetrate body armor works just like a can opener. Thrust, twist, fire. Of course, with that course, you didn't want to shoot him necessarily anyway, but, you know.
What act was that again?
Huh?
What act was that?
The Hague and Geneva Conventions.
The Hague.
The Hague. Hague and Geneva Conventions of War. And there are several updates to that every so many years when they have international meetings. However, it's the Gun Control Act of 1968 where they attempted to take and make it illegal, of course, to possess a rifle or import rifles with the bayonet lug. Which, of course, with the bayonet lug made them militia or military arms.
They're cutting off the SKS bayonet lugs now.
Yep. Now, the interesting thing about that is when you look at it from a different perspective and understand that 7277, the document drawn up to abolish the U.S. military of the United States and transfer it over to the United Nations, dictates that the American people must be disarmed too, it makes sense that one of the last things that they would do is to cooperate by altering our laws through the color of law to conform with United Nations regulations and requirements to disarm the slaves. That's us. And so instead, we've got enough of these, I think, that originally when they let these in, by the way, their logic was to give us enough to get us killed, but not enough to win. Keep that in mind.
Improvise.
That's right.
Change it.
That's right. Improvise.
10 shots to that.
That's right. Improvise, modify, and change. The American people have a tendency to do that. We find something, we'll make it, we'll alter it to our desired needs, we'll make it better in our eyes. Yes.
What country did we ever fight that abided by the Geneva Convention?
Nobody ever has. The whole point being, that's the whole problem, is that in this case, as somebody said in a very famous movie everybody probably knows, the Geneva Convention, I never heard of it. I think that's pretty straightforward. So with regard to this, though, these rifles are much more than just a surplus item. They're compatible with our desired needs, effective, inexpensive, easy to maintain, robust. You can hand them down to your kids. Your kids can use them later. They'll get something better. If you find something you like, you can hand this on to another patriot, and he can find a better weapon. But this is a good start. And if all else fails, down the road, I'm sure it'll have some intrinsic value when you carve the date in it. You know, the campaign of 96, winter campaign 97, you know, and put your initials in there. Hand it on to the kids, and they'll know who it came from. But with that in mind, that overall, these weapons are desirable, they're effective, and they're needed. Rule number 1. There are some very fine arms here tonight. I've seen them. In fact, I drool over them. But this rifle here I've carried in the past, and I have no problems carrying today. It is a very effective arm. It will do the job, and it will do it most desirably in that, 22 million Chinese soldiers can't be wrong in one way. It works. Okay? There's another 3-4 million the Russians made.
I can tell you a little history behind that sucker that most people don't know.
Well, the
original one was made in 1908 in the United States of America by Remington, and our government sent our men to World War I with a damn bolt-action 5-shot Springfield against grease guns in Germany, and they had that in America, and we didn't use it. And Remington quit making it in 1950, and the Russians bought up the patent rights from Browning and started making it in 1953.
Just a matter of time before it goes full circle, and usually the capitalists have provided everything for the other side capable of killing most of us on the battlefield. We've upgraded our enemy. The other thing that should be considered about these arms is this. If you have 5 people to arm, better that you all be armed, and then one be armed very well, and everybody else be sharing a rifle. Any ever been thought about that? You know, your turn, go ahead. Doesn't work that way, does it?
Very well.
So with regard to these arms, the SKS standard model can be purchased for as little as probably around $89 to $100 or as much as $150, depending on which model and condition. That means that in place of one AR-15, you could buy 2, 3, or 4 of these. As much ammunition as is affordable. And what you have are 4 people armed, and in an ambush or in a defense, that's very desirable. What I also consider these rifles to be are garrison weapons, what we were talking about earlier with regard to defense. Whenever possible, you should have 5 or 6 spare arms that are in reserve, that are maintained with ammunition and just enough equipment so that if need be, when this man shows up buck naked because they burned his house out, I can go rifle, bandolier, go. And that's what's necessary. Now, the ideal thing about this is exactly how the Chinese looked at this rifle. The difference is the man behind it. The American rifleman, number one, is more adept. We've had more training. We've got more skill. We're capable of engaging a target farther out. We're raised, in most cases, from birth. At least have some familiarization with weapons. Makes all the difference in the world. We are a population of warriors, despite what anybody would like to say. And with regard to that, we do well. Other weapons, the AK-47 or the AK series rifles are desirable. Some of them are a little, shall we say, less robust than the original ones coming in. But I would recommend that if you have the Kalashnikov, that you buy automatically a drum, 75 or 100 round, whichever is available. And that makes a very desirable door stopper, or a very desirable air defense gun. There we go. Okay. Difference between the two arms. Just a moment. Automatic Kalashnikov, AK-47, AKM, a la you name it, AK something or other. In this case, the post-market version, standard beaver tail stock, 75 round drum, light package, easily maintained. The reason I recommend that all of you carry a drum is this. At night, for instance, and it's in the evening hours now, when traveling, although it makes a little noise, you have a lot of firepower here. Every man in the squad carrying one of these, either as a security individual, or for instance in patrolling in safe areas, has one of these locked in the weapon and stick magazines for the rest of his transport. If you are ambushed, you flick the thing over to shoot, kill, you start pulling the trigger and you don't have to worry about reloading for a little while. Now, rule number one about ambushes, I'm going to explain a few points here real quick. Ambushes. 3 things people do in an ambush. Run, which means chances are they die. Stand there, which chances are they may still die, but at least they hopefully are shooting back. 3, identify and engage the target and fire the thing up and attack, attack, attack. Do not stay in the kill zone.
I cry for my country, for the pain that it's been through. She's been made to suffer for the profit of a few. Storm clouds are forming, winds of change now touch our shores. Our hear forefathers are crying as the dream's been cruised. America.